Check, check, 1, 2.
1, 2. Check, check.
Check, check, 1, 2.
Big stinky, 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 stinky.
Electric boogaloo, stinky, stinky.
Stinky, stinky. Very stinky.
Electric poo, poo, poo.
Poo, poo, poo. Biggest, stinkiest poopy.
Wonderful. I love our little show.
If you want to know how story ends, you probably have to ask one of my friends. If I live to tell the tale, the only way we hear is in a county jail. I might be wrong, just I might not tell it. Just if I remembered it right, I need one for breakfast, 2 for dessert. 5, 6, 7, if that don't work, I got up so high, I never came down. It's hard to see clear when it hits in the clouds, and every day I wait, thinking I can't wait. No, I can't wait till I can't see straight. I'm on drinking again.
Hey, 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 ho!
Whoa! Hey!
It's a good time. I'm going to shut
God.
this door.
Oh, Evan, no.
Get a little privacy for the show.
Yeah. Hey, everybody.
Welcome to Kentucky Fried Roadkill.
Yes, welcome to Kentucky Fried Roadkill. I am the Baron of Breathitt County, Treyton Blackburn.
And I am the mayor of Stinky Breath, Evan Pride.
Well, Breathitt County is a real place.
Oh.
Yeah.
So is Stinky Breath.
Is Stinky
Yeah.
Breath, is that in Louisville?
Yeah.
Is
It's a township. It's
Is
not a
it?
town.
Is
It's a
it?
township.
Amazing. Is it anywhere? Is it? Sorry.
It's in the heart of St. Matthews.
Oh, okay. It is. I was getting ready to ask, is it in St. Matthews? Because
Yeah.
when I lived in Louisville for 15 to 20 minutes, I lived near St. Matthews.
You lived in Louisville for how long?
I lived in Louisville for 6-ish months, roundabout 6, 7 months.
Was that all during the pandemic?
It was not. It was actually right before the pandemic. My wife worked at Norton Healthcare, I think is the name of the hospital. Is that right?
Yes, that
Yep.
sounds right.
She worked there in the lab right before the pandemic for her final wing of her training.
Cool. And
Yeah.
then you moved to Eastern Kentucky again.
Yeah,
after
we
that.
went back home for a little while, and then we came back to Lexington when she got a job at St. Joseph
Yeah,
Hospital.
so she's all graduated now.
Yeah, she's
That's great. How's the real world? I must ask.
it
'Cause
is.
I am a semester away. The first day of the semester, first day of classes is
Yeah.
on Monday for me. It's my last semester
Woo,
of college.
woo.
Hopefully my last semester of education,
Yeah,
I guess.
no
I'm-
master's degree. Or?
No master's degree, I don't think, unless I'm like 26 and I'm like, what have I done with my life? I'm just at the bottom of a barrel.
Yeah.
And I decide it's a good idea to take out $60,000 in student loans.
Well, let your old Poppy give you some words of wisdom here, Sonny. The real world is, in my experience, not as intimidating as people would have you believe. There is a level of humility you have to accept, I think. You come out of college all hot, dumb, and full of cum, and you're out there ready to do
Hot,
your
dumb, and full of
hot,
cum.
dumb, and full of cum.
Oh,
That's
boy.
Evan Pride.
And Treyton Blackburn,
That's
apparently.
right. But you come out and you're like, I'm gonna do my dream job, and nothing else is good enough for me. But then the bills start coming, and you do in fact have to do whatever you can
Yeah.
to survive. And particularly, you and I with our arts degrees, we're both probably going to be swimming in different streams for a while.
Especially in the middle of a pandemic.
Yes.
That's-
Please continue to social distance and wear your masks.
It was really tough graduating from college with a theater degree as it was.
Yeah.
And then add on top of it, the industry shut down.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But you have some things in the works
I
that
do.
we probably can't discuss fully.
No. But post-pandemic, I've got some love artistically coming my way, which is always great. Whenever that ends up being. Let me ask you something. What's your opinion on the the streaming of theatrical productions and calling it theater?
Like, are you referring to Hamilton on Disney Plus?
Yeah, things of that nature, but more specifically, like what has been happening in the response to the pandemic, like these Zoom plays,
people's adjustments to
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zoom
What do you
plays,
think about that?
I don't know. It's interesting. I don't know the full extent of it in the theater world.
Sure.
I haven't heard much. I know the Zoom plays where it's like every character has a scream. They're just recorded over Zoom.
Yeah.
Those are pretty. I wrote a little short play at the beginning of the pandemic during that semester.
Yeah.
And how we presented it was in a Zoom presentation, and it was good for the reading.
Yeah.
It was like a reading, but I wouldn't want it to be representative of my play. I guess if you're really you're a theater artist and you're really trying to make something and get something out there, then if you got no other options, do what you got to do. But
I mean,
but I think it, does it degrade the art form?
Well, my question, and this is a hot take, a lot of people don't agree with me, but I'm not certain that it is theater.
No, because there's no audience.
Yeah, there's no audience. And
we were always taught that in our little theater school. They said anything can be theater as long as there's an audience.
Yeah, and even in these Zoom things, like there is an audience, but there's no intimacy between the art itself and the audience.
Yeah,
and
that is what makes theater.
Yeah, because
aside from that, it's like a weird film.
Yeah, exactly. It's just it's a live streamed film, which is fine, but it isn't theater.
Which is fine, and at that point, if you're gonna do a live stream film, do something good.
Yeah, don't do a play.
Yeah,
make a movie.
Yeah, make a movie, edit it, play with camera angles, tell a story in a visual way.
Because in my opinion, what makes theater the art form that it is that the audience and the art are in the same room at the same time, and I just feel like. Obviously arts organizations have to survive and they're doing what they have to do, right?
Yes.
But people are like, we have a friend in graduate school at a fairly prestigious arts university. We'll call her Quilty Sue. That's what we'll call her.
Quilty Sue.
Quilty Sue. She's a good one, isn't she?
Yeah. Shout out Quilty Sue. I don't even know who Quilty Sue is.
She's
you don't have to try to describe it to me.
Yeah. So she was a designer that I worked with a ton in college, and she is at a very prestigious university now. And she was talking to me the other night and said that her professors asked the students how do you think the Zoom adjustments are going to affect theater once the pandemic is over? And I was like, not at all, because we'll all go right back to doing theater the way that theater should be done. What do you mean? How's it going to affect theater? We're all going to collectively go, good. We never have to do that again. Perfect.
Yeah. The whole thing is getting the audience in the room.
Yeah.
As long as, because that's the only thing that you can't do because of COVID. Is get a whole bunch of audience together. In the stand-up world, they've figured out ways to do it. There's drive-in shows. People are in their cars. They hear it over the radio. I've done outdoor shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, where and it's hard because there's not really a ceiling to contain the audience's energy.
Yeah.
And that's what makes theater so special.
Yes, I agree. I just think all you theater artists out there who are trying to sell me on the Zoom shows, don't sell it. You're selling way too hard, and I'm not going to buy it. So,
yeah,
I love you all. Glad you're doing what you're doing, but please leave me alone. Is what I'm saying.
No, I will not be opening your Zoom link.
No, I won't. I won't be doing it. Sorry, love you. Keep doing what you're doing. Fight the good fight.
Yeah.
Yeah. So slightly different topic.
Yes.
You know that my life is sort of rife with odd experiences.
Yes.
I am notorious for strange.
Oh, is this Treyton's life story?
This is Treyton's life story, but it is not an Appalachian anecdote. This happened here in Lexington, actually.
Okay, Treyton's life story right here on the docket coming up.
So, of course. This will be in my memoir in 15 years, so you'll be able to actually read this on the page in several years. So I was at home. I work from home, and I came down my stairs to feed my cat supper because she has to eat exactly at 6 o'clock or she'll cry. And
You don't want a crying cat.
no, don't want a crying cat. And so I have a front door and a screen door, and I had my front door open so my cat could look outside. And in the road, in front of my house, it was like 40 degrees outside, maybe colder, and there was a young woman, probably in her 20s, wearing just a tank top and a pair of ball shorts in a messy bun.
She was going to play some basketball.
And she was full squatting in the middle of the road. Full squat.
What? Does she have a barbell on her back?
No,
or
full
what?
squat. She was squatted down. Her knees were fully apart in the ball shorts.
Okay.
She was alone, completely by herself, and she was just.
This is at night.
Yeah, well, it's 6:30 in the evening, but it's dark outside.
Okay, so morning for me.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So she's sitting there, not sitting. She's squatting there with her powerful thighs.
Yes, thunder thighs.
Yeah, she's got
thoroughbred thighs.
a nice messy bun and a fade going on, and I'm staring at this girl through my screen door, trying to figure out what she's doing, and she holds this squat for 3, maybe 4 solid minutes as I stare at her through my window, and then all of a sudden she pulls her legs together and she walks just away down the road.
Did she leave anything behind?
No.
So she was just.
So if you're out there,
She was just vibing in the middle of the street.
in a full squatting position.
In a full squatting
with
position.
her powerful thighs.
For how long?
I witnessed it for 3 to 4 minutes.
You were just sitting there staring at her?
Well, yeah, wouldn't you?
Did you think did she look like did she have a face, an expression on her face? Like,
it was
like something's in the bushes and I
no,
gotta
it was very
squat down.
It was very stoic, very determined expression.
Was she posing? Did she pick up like a camera on a tripod?
No, she picked up nothing. She stopped the squat, full stop, pulled her knees together, walked away.
Okay. So what are your theories on what happened that night? That fateful, dark, late night at 6:30 p.m.
Clearly she's like that girl in that hotel who ended up in that water tower, right? Like 2 days from now, they're gonna find this girl in like a closed off water tank, and she's gonna be on BuzzFeed Unsolved or whatever, and I'm gonna be like, oh my god, I saw that girl.
You're gonna see her on the Snapchat stories.
yeah. There's gonna be
There's gonna be a Netflix documentary about her.
Yeah, the last known footage of Elsie Lamb is right here on this traffic camera.
And then they're gonna be interviewing you, and you're gonna be like, I didn't know what I saw.
I didn't know what I saw.
I was just standing there looking out the glass window. She was squatting in the road. I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if she was taking a shit or posing for a picture or what.
And I thought about like opening the screen door and being like, "Hey, you need some help out there?" But I didn't want to be weird. I didn't want her to know that I was staring at her. But surely she saw me.
No. Yeah.
She definitely saw me, right?
Yeah. Maybe you were. She was freaked out by you. She thought you were some sort of like dinosaur. She was just like, "Don't move a muscle.
Don't move a muscle. If I move, he's gonna charge.
He's gonna. It's gonna be like the one that got Newman. Spit slime into her face.
Whole. She. And I have a theory that I've actually seen her before, and she lives close to me, but I haven't seen her since, and that was days ago. So.
Well, ma'am, if you're out there, we hope you're alive.
I hope you're okay.
Squatting
I'm
somewhere.
sorry for staring. I wasn't trying to be rude, but I was just very perplexed by your whole sort of vibe. It's a powerful vibe. If you want to hang out, please.
It's hard to hold a squat for that long.
It was powerful. I was intimidated.
Did she even look like she was struggling at all?
No. Full. It was just, it was like watching Socrates squat. It was just a full. It was like a full stoic,
like a statue, like a marble statue.
Yeah, it was like a Grecian experience. It was like I was at the Louvre.
We have an Olympic athlete wandering the streets of Lexington.
yeah.
Be on the lookout.
If you see this Olympic athlete wearing a tank top, a pair of ball shorts, and a messy bun, please tell her that I wasn't trying to be creepy. I was just intimidated.
Yes, or don't interact with her at all. She may beat the shit out of you.
You have to avoid the legs.
Yeah.
If you're gonna deal with her, you gotta try to take her out from the upper half. It's the only hope you have.
Gotta tackle her up top.
Yeah,
She's a low down runner.
that's right. You've got to get her off those powerful legs.
Yeah. All right.
Gosh, why?
Well, I'm happy you had this experience.
I'm not. I'm so curious.
Do you have spooky things happen to you a lot?
Yes.
Like you're walking dark night on a street.
Yeah.
And just like every sound that you hear when you're walking on a dark street, just you assume is a serial killer waiting behind the bushes.
Of course. But I mean, what serial killer would target me, right? I mean, serial killers have types, and I'm nobody's type,
Yeah.
Who gets off on killing me, right? I mean,
just good people, I think.
Good people, yeah.
like Dexter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dexter, wasn't that the serial killer that killed bad people?
Yeah. Well, I was actually a villain on Dexter in season 3.
Were you?
I was. No, I wasn't, but I
The
could have
character?
been.
Oh, you could have been.
Yeah, they would have shown me in my apartment drinking eating chocolate chip cookies and drinking milk out of the carton and backwashing the chocolate chips and Dexter looking at me through the window this fucker's gotta die for what he does.
I was on an episode of FBI's Most Wanted, or I could have been.
Yeah.
If I had the guts to go through with it.
Let me ask you something. If you were a wanted criminal,
Yes.
what would I don't care what you did,
Oh.
but
I thought you were going to be, what would the crime be?
No, I don't
What
care.
are you at the edge of doing?
my question, do you have some stuff you want to get off your chest before we get into this? Or?
Do you want to rob a bank?
Yeah,
What's
because
going
I'm
on
down. I'm totally
I
down.
need the money.
But anyway, my question is, how would you try to hide from the authorities? What would your game plan be to I've got to get away with this? How am I going to do it? Go.
I feel like the typical answer is you go south towards Mexico. Right? You try to make the run to Mexico. You try to get out of the United States.
So
right?
you, Evan Pride, would make the run to Mexico.
Yeah, so I'm wanted for something, and they're going to hunt me down.
Grand larceny.
Grand larceny.
Sure.
What is grand larceny for a dumb person like me?
I believe it is a subsection of stealing. I believe grand larceny is a very specific type of stealing. I didn't listen. Handsome John is in law school. I am not.
You did not pass the bar.
No, certainly not.
Okay. So let's say I stole a lawyer's license.
Yeah, you stole
And-
Handsome John's JD.
Impersonated
You impersonated
a
a legal official.
Yes, and they found out they're on their way to get me. I
Yeah.
don't know. I would try to go towards water
Okay.
as fast as possible and then make it down the shoreline because I feel like beach cops are the worst cops.
Maybe.
So
Sure.
they're probably going to not notice you.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. Beach cops.
Maybe.
They're just going to
I
deal
don't
with.
know much about beach cops.
I don't either. I'm just making these presumptions.
Yeah.
But I feel like they're too busy dealing with hooligans on the beach, kicking sand
or
in each other's
inspecting
faces.
tan lines or whatever they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to hightail it to Miami. Probably hang out there for 3 weeks, see what happens. But maybe swim across the Gulf, make it to Cuba.
Cuba is not in the Gulf of Mexico.
Puerto
my
Rico.
friend.
Is it Puerto Rico? Is it
I don't know if
Cuba?
Puerto Rico's in the Gulf. I know Cuba's not in the Gulf.
No, yeah, Cuba is the one that it's a 30-minute swim from Florida, from the tip of Florida.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah,
but,
yeah.
But it's in the Atlantic Ocean. It's not in the.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of down.
Sure.
It's kind of like the Gulf shadow.
Okay, you're going to the glorious communist state of Cuba.
Yes, and then I'll probably just hang out in Cuba, smoke some stogies, eat some sandwiches.
Yeah, banana sandwiches.
Yeah, that'd be my strategy.
See,
I'd try to get out of the country as fast as possible.
Yeah. You see, here's the
because they can. You can't hide out in the country. They can track you down.
Yeah. So here's what I would do. I would go somewhere that is mostly uninhabited.
By the
right?
way, this podcast is going to be used against us in court one day.
Yeah, when we finally break the law and try to get away. I think I would go to somewhere that's mostly uninhabited and just
Indiana.
Yeah, I would go to Indiana.
A place where no one would be on the lookout for
or
me.
somewhere that is so inhabited that finding somebody would be impossible, like India.
Okay, so
It wouldn't be
India or Indiana,
Yeah, India or Indiana would be my escape
or the
route.
Indies. Climb a mountain.
Yeah, and I would grow my hair out as long as I possibly could.
You have to change your appearance as much as possible.
Yes. Yeah, I would grow my hair out as long as possible. I would get a nose ring.
Yeah, I would go goth.
Yeah.
Start putting on the face paint, the dark shadow, eyeshadow,
Yeah.
black lipstick,
Of course.
or a wig.
but how humiliating. Think about like when they catch you and you're all gonked out and your mugshot is just
you
all
got
over the news.
You got a lip ring in.
Yeah. And you've got the black lipstick and you're
And at that point, are you still in character in your mugshot? Are you like given up and like they got me? Just an admitted look of defeat on your face.
yeah.
Or are you still like trying to like be all punk rock and goth about
you gotta
it?
be punk rock in your mugshot.
Yeah.
You've gotta be
Just
punk rock.
holding up your chin up high so that the
Yeah.
world can see your dog collar necklace
And
that you got on.
everybody sees you on the news like Evan Pride arrested for or like Louisville man arrested for grand larceny, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, what happened to Evan? Look at him."
I got a mohawk.
You're like, you're like every time you're in court, you're like, it was just a disguise, and everybody's like, right,
Sure,
it was.
Someone
it
got
always is.
Evan went a little Breaking Bad on us. Cool guy. Yeah. Oh, someone sells a kilo of Coke and now he's the big man, all gothed out. Yeah. So what would you do?
I would
You
go.
change your appearance, go to
Yeah.
India.
Yep. I would probably.
You just have to get out of the state. You don't have to
Yeah.
go to India.
I would like devote myself to some like monk's temple somewhere.
Okay.
And maybe like shave my head entirely and like devote myself to like a righteous sort of soul searching journey.
So would you do that in order to hang out there and hide?
Yes.
Because no one would
But
find
also
you?
to
Or
better myself.
to better yourself because
Yeah.
whatever you did to be on the run is fucking horrible. probably.
Exactly. Like how many times are the cops looking like through a Tibetan monastery for FBI's most wanted? I assume not often.
In Marvel movies a lot.
Yeah, that's true, but I'm talking about in our
In real life.
Well, I guess it would be the CIA, not the FBI, because the FBI only handles internal matters.
So if you commit a crime, do you just have to get out of the country and then they can't get you? You just gotta get out of the jurisdiction.
Well, no, because
and then
most
you can't come back.
most countries have extradition with the United States.
Okay, so they'll be
They'll
like,
send
"Here,
you
take-
back. Yeah,
take
they'll be
'em.
like, "Here's your guy."
We don't want him.
We don't want him exactly, but there
Well,
are some.
There are certain countries that will be like, "Fucking, we'll take him."
Yeah, they'll give you immunity, or there are some countries that if you do something worthy of the death penalty, they won't extradite you because they won't extradite to countries with the death penalty.
Oh, so they're like, we give you him, but you're gonna kill him.
Yeah,
We
we're not
know."
gonna let you kill him.
Well, yeah.
What'd he do?
Oh, double murder homicide.
Well,
don't kill
don't
him.
kill him over it. Come on.
Jeez, have a heart.
He's down at the bodega. Leave him alone.
Yeah.
He hasn't killed anybody since he's been here.
Can he just hang out here, and roll some dice in the
Yeah.
streets and have some fun?
Yeah, if you agree not to kill him, we'll let you have him.
We'll let you have him. Yeah. Sure, you can let him wait on a line for 30 years and
Yeah.
sure, yeah, and talk about killing him.
But if you kill him,
But if you kill him, at
we
war.
draw a line.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's how world affairs happen.
Amazing. Speaking of world affairs,
is this
a beautiful, beautiful send off to the late great Larry King,
Yes, Mr.
a
Larry
broadcasting legend.
King? Yes. Did you ever watch Larry King?
My grandmother did a lot. I watched it with my grandmother a ton when I was a much younger man.
What was he famous for? Like, I know, was his show famous for something in particular? Because I know every time you think of it, he had the real laid-back attitude. And he was like, I don't even care if I'm talking to this guy. They just brought him in here. I don't even. What's your name again? And he had the dots behind it.
Yeah. From what
No.
I understand, what made Larry King so special was he sort of pioneered that style, like just two people at a table talking for an hour.
Okay.
Um,
I guess I don't know much about Larry King except for him being an iconic old dude.
Yeah.
Until recently.
Right.
But how long did he have a show? And
Yeah.
How long was it on for?
I don't know a lot of particulars because again I mostly watched him with my grandmother as a boy, but I know he had a show on CNN for a while, because that's where my grandmother watched him, and it was like Larry King Tonight, I think was the name.
The Larry King Show.
Larry
It
King Show
began in 1978.
Holy crap!
Yes, shout out. And then from 1985 to 2010, he hosted the nightly interview television program Larry King Live.
Yeah,
So,
that was Larry King
So
Live.
he was he a big politics guy or entertainment, or he kind of did it all?
He
right?
kind of did it all. Like he would be interviewing, one week he's interviewing Bill Clinton, and the next he's interviewing, Seth Rogen.
Yeah.
And that was Larry King's kind of. I know he interviewed Dan Aykroyd once, and Dan Aykroyd made him drink vodka out of a skull.
Yeah, Dan Aykroyd's vodka. He distills that through diamonds.
Oh boy,
What a guy!
Hey,
I love that Dan Aykroyd is as into the supernatural as he is. He totally he believes in aliens. Which, by the way, maybe we should talk about this from our last podcast, which we've discussed aliens.
Yeah,
a couple pods ago. The FBI confirmed aliens and released all this data on it.
did they confirm aliens?
They
I feel like that would be getting more attention.
I think I don't know if they necessarily confirmed aliens, but I do know that they everything that they knew about aliens has been released to the public.
Yeah, they released a bunch of stuff about unidentified flying objects.
Yeah, we know stuff about UFOs now. Who knows aliens or not, but
Let me ask you, aliens? Yes or no?
aliens definitely.
Definitely.
I think this is the decade aliens.
You think aliens are gonna happen?
I think aliens this decade.
Oh, Evan, bud.
I think aliens this decade.
I'm not
Dude,
sold. I'm not even sold that there are other sentient life forms.
Oh, I think there definitely are.
I don't know. Because everybody says that in a universe so vast, there must be other sentient life.
Yes.
But in my opinion, and I think this is a paradox that has a name. Maybe it's the Fermi paradox. I'm not entirely sure. But essentially, we have explored a lot. Obviously, in the infinite vastness of the universe, we've put our toes in the water.
Yeah.
But we've explored and found nothing. So we don't know. We have no unit of comparison to know how rare sentient life is. We may be the only sentient life because sentient life is so rare.
It's possible, but I think with the infinitesimal or whatever the fucking word is, the infinite nature of the universe, I think that there's got to be at least 5 sentient life. I don't think it's I think it is stupid to say that there's no way alien life exists, because that's ridiculous. There's probably alien dogs, horses, panthers, cheetahs.
And we found microbial alien life. We know that exists.
Yeah,
but you're talking about
something that could potentially build a spaceship to travel.
I'm just talking about alien Evan Pride and alien Treyton Blackburn sitting in
communicating.
Well, making their, alien podcast.
Their alien podcast.
Yeah, for their alien.
Fried Roadkill.
Hello, I am Glebhorp Globelking.
And I am Glabstone Glibblestein. And welcome to
Glabstone Fried.
Glamstone and Glibble-glorps Glopsk about Glee Glops.
Yeah.
That's just how they write Rick and Morty episodes, right?
Yeah,
They just sit around
exactly.
and do that.
But I don't know. I think if there are aliens, sentient alien life forms, they've never been here.
Yeah.
Because
some people have the theory that they view us as ants, and so they're just kind of checking in on us, and they're not trying to interact with us.
But here's the thing: if their nature is anything similar to humanity, you know what we do when we see ants? We fucking burn them with a fucking magnifying glass. That's what we do.
Maybe they're more advanced, and they didn't. think about it. We evolved through monkeys, right, to be the sentient
Well,
life.
primates.
Yeah, primates and
Yeah.
stuff. So think about if another sentient life, like, I don't know, if a dolphin were to evolve.
That's a
into,
bad example. Dolphins are very violent animals.
Okay, they're very. Oh yeah,
They are extremely, incredibly violent
They're
animals.
sexually aggressive.
Yes,
and-
they are.
Yes. Okay.
Bad example.
Well, what's a very calm animal? A sloth.
Yeah, sure. Let's
sloth.
say the sloth aliens.
Okay, the future sloth people that communicate to you very slowly.
Yeah, like in Zootopia, a movie
Yeah.
that I hate.
You hate Zootopia.
Yeah, but
We'll get to that.
we'll get to that. Yeah.
These sloth people speak very slowly. I don't even remember where I was going. I was floored that you hate Zootopia.
I do hate Zootopia. It's one of my very least favorite movies.
Well, should we just jump to this, or was there anything worthwhile in this?
There are
alien?
no aliens. That's the worthwhile.
In my counter opinion, aliens.
No aliens probably. I mean, if they show up,
Aliens,
there's
yeah.
pie in my face.
Yeah.
But
They just show up like, hey, where's Treyton?
no,
We just want to get the
no,
guy.
guys, don't do it to. You don't have to embarrass me like this in front of everybody.
We heard episode 5 of Kentucky Fried Roadkill.
Was it good?
Yeah, we liked it. It was okay. A little much alien talk. But where's the bullshit little mustached rat man?
Right here, sir.
Hey, get over here.
Hey,
Hey, what's up with all the shit talk?
I'm sorry.
You didn't think we were real?
No, I just
You didn't think we were real?
I just didn't want to get my hopes up. You understand? It's. I've been disappointed too much.
Hey, you got to keep your chin up. How do you think we progressed our society to a world where we could come here and give you a talking to,
Oh.
straighten your little ass out?
Oh well, thank you. That's very nice.
You just got to get back on the horse, keep chugging, keep grinding every day.
So, are you going to share with us your infinite wisdom and bring our world to a new generation of peace?
No, we've come here to kill you all.
that
start,
checks out.
Start the transmission
Yeah.
period.
Hey, can I go first? Would that be good? You want to go ahead and take me out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This has been a radio play brought to you by Evan Pride and Treyton
Panic
Blackburn.
broadcast.
Yeah.
Anyway, I hate Zootopia.
Yes. Why do you hate Zootopia?
Okay.
Is it because it's too hand-fed with
No, that doesn't
its
bother me
message?
at all. That doesn't
or
bother
its
me.
message? Maybe you're just a racist.
No, that.
Boom!
Whoa, that's
Put that card on you.
Whoa, no, that's not it either. I think that it's first. This is the minor reason. I think its allegory for race is a little too messy.
Yeah.
I think it.
Different species being different races? Or you're
Yeah,
just talking about that.
I always think that that's a little problematic because I just think it's a. Have you ever seen the anime Beastars?
No.
So Beastars is very similar conceptually to Zootopia. It's animals being used to talk about race and class in human society.
Yeah.
And Beastars just does it 1,000,000 times better than Zootopia ever could. So watch Beastars. It's on Netflix. It's amazing.
Are they all bees?
No, it's like Beastars. Beastars.
Okay.
Yeah. But what I really hate about it is so Judy Hopps is from a very rural community.
Yes.
And the only person in her rural community that speaks with a southern or country dialect is the racist fox.
The racist fox.
Yeah, the fox bully racist who hate,
Okay, interesting.
he's the only person who speaks with a country accent, and I find that very offensive.
You think that they're characterizing the South as racists?
I think they're characterizing people with accents as racists.
Yes. Okay.
And that I find troubling because
So is this a thing? So are Appalachians proud of their accent? Because I know
Yes.
there are different there are different pockets of people that come from rural places and how they feel about their accents.
Yeah.
My family was born in Western Kentucky, and my dad immediately after getting out of Western Kentucky, he heard himself talking. He was like, "Yeah, hoo, hee haw," and all that
Yeah.
stuff, I guess.
Yeah,
and
sure.
he was like, "Oh, I gotta tighten it up." And he was like, "Do do 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 do," and now he speaks real proper or whatever.
Sure.
And my mom, on the other hand, she spoke like this when she was a kid, and she speaks like this now. So it's
I mean, I just Appalachians, generally speaking, are very, very defensive and proud of the dialect. Silas House is a famous Appalachian author. He's very, very talented. He actually lives here in Lexington. And
Shout out Stylus.
Yeah, Silas is amazing.
Silas.
Silas.
Shout out Silas.
House. But he talks a lot about how when young Appalachian people leave the region, they feel as though they have to lose the dialect to be accepted.
Yes.
And what a criminality that is. And I am very proud of my dialect. Like I have an extensive vocabulary. I know how to speak grammatically, but there is nothing wrong with my accent. There's no reason for me to have to get rid of my accent.
No, and also your accent isn't as so strong that people can't understand the words you're saying. You just put a little flair on it, like it's British or Irish or something.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is you can have an accent and be understood, right? Like being legible in your speech or coherent or whatever the right adjective is, that's not determined by accent. That is something that everyone on the planet has to understand about speech. You have to be understood.
Yes. You have to speak clearly.
Yeah, you have to speak clearly, but you don't have to get rid of your accent. Like I know so many people who have been told that they must get rid of their accent if they want to be successful. And it infuriates me because you're making an equivalency between the way someone's voice sounds and their intelligence level.
Yeah.
And that is infuriating to me.
Well, what they're doing is they're characterizing people, that Southern accent as the South, and the South are all buffoons. And
well, and the thing about Appalachia is the Appalachian accent isn't Southern. I don't consider Appalachia the South.
Yeah, no, you don't.
I don't consider Appalachia the South. We have far too many cultural differences from the South to be. So
what do you consider the South then?
The South starts in South Tennessee. Tennessee, Georgia, Louisiana, Alabama, Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina, Southern, but even like Southwest Virginia is Appalachia. Like Appalachia is because historically speaking, the South was a very economically rich reason because of cotton plantations and the slave trade.
Yes.
Appalachia, throughout all of American history, has been one of the poorest regions of the nation because you can't mega farm there. You can't, the geography's too hard to industrialize or commodify.
There was never a time when Appalachia was doing really well?
No, never. The only time in American history that Appalachia has really done well was the coal boom. And Appalachians didn't do well during the coal boom. Mine operators in New York City did very well during the coal boom, while they paid us in what was called scrip, which was just they didn't even pay us money to mine. They just
gave you lunch.
They gave us not even that. They gave us pieces of paper that could be spent at the company store that the company owned. So you were essentially an indentured servant to the company.
It's a big coal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's when the writings of Marx came into Appalachia and miners started to unionize. And then Pinkerton thugs and police and the U.S. government came in and killed hundreds, if not thousands, of miners.
What years was this?
This is between the 1910s and 1940s, 50s.
Okay.
Yeah, the labor movement in America begins in Appalachia. There is no American labor movement without Appalachia.
Interesting. So the idea of unions kind of came from Appalachia?
Yes. One of the oldest unions in the nation, the United Mine Workers Union, is still in operation. It's one of the things like politicians, especially liberal politicians who I agree with, talk a lot about the statistics of coal. Like we need to give them new jobs because coal isn't profitable anymore. And they just throw the numbers and the facts at Appalachia. And those things are facts. Like they're indisputable that coal is on the way out the door. But I feel like they don't understand nor do they respect the cultural significance and pride that comes with the history of coal mining. Like, men fought and died to be treated fairly in this industry.
Yeah, coal was a big industry in Western Kentucky, Union County, where I'm from. So
Yeah.
I think to this day I still have family members that work either in coal mines or like in the office of a coal mine. Or
Yeah, well, and I
however
believe,
that works.
I believe that the mines, coal mining is bad for the planet, and America doesn't produce much of it. Like, it doesn't provide that many jobs. Like, it should be on its way out the door. But, like, you can't, anything with this much history and cultural significance attached to it cannot be handled so callously and expect it to be received well.
Yeah, I guess the solution is you have to give them something in return.
Well, you've got to acknowledge their part in the fight for the American labor, American laborer. But they won't do that because most of the people who fought for miners' rights were communists.
Okay.
That's where the
So-
term redneck comes from.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Union miners would wear red bandanas around their necks in a show of solidarity with other miners. It was a communist symbol.
So is Appalachia kind of like a little pocket of kind of socialist, communist, kind of Marxist ideas?
I mean, I don't want to paint with a broad brush with Appalachia. Like, obviously there are a lot of conservative people in Appalachia, and I wouldn't say that people are Marxists, but I would say that everyone I've ever met in Appalachia and know on a personal level believes in the rights of the blue-collar worker. Like, that residue of fighting for the working man is still very much alive in Appalachia. And, of course, now, a lot of liberals in Appalachia subscribe to a lot of, not liberals is not the right word, but a lot of leftists in Appalachia subscribe to Marxist theory, at least to some degree. Like, everyone has varying levels to which they subscribe to Marxist theory in Appalachia. Yeah. But you've got to understand, like, Marx kind of stuck a flag in America in Appalachia. And I feel like without the Red Scare and without the Cold War, there may be even a more progressive third party in the United States, like a workers' party or a socialist party or a communist party, if not for Joseph McCarthy and the Red Scare.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, people get so turned off by communism and socialism and stuff. And it's just because of because, like, conceptually it's a great idea. Everybody's equal. Everybody gets the same idea. But it just totally has not played out well on the global scale in history.
Well, and there's myriad reasons for that. Like,
don't you think it's because at the end of the day humans will be greedy?
I don't.
And you don't think greed is a certain human trait?
I think it's there, but I think greed has solutions. Like, the key sort of center of Marxism, as I read and interpret it, is the idea of solidarity. So, like, if one person gets greedy, or if a group of people get greedy, the only solution to that is for the overwhelming, rest of the community to rise up in response to that and say, that's not going to work. Like, communism works with numbers. People have to put the group interest ahead of their own.
This is why Russia has so many revolutions in its
yeah. Well, and the thing about,
they're very quick to cut off heads.
And there's a lot of idealism that is subscribed to communism, right? Like, everybody thinks that, like, oh, it'll solve everything if we solve the economic crises, and that's not true. Communism, as evident in world history, is as subject to totalitarians and authoritarians as much as any other democratic system of government is. It's the sad truth that, like, as Umberto Eco puts it in Fascism, like, you cannot negotiate with fascists.
Yes.
Like, you have to stop fascists. That's it. That's the only answer for them. If you negotiate with fascists, you're a fascist.
So don't you think? But so do you subscribe to the idea that there will always be someone who is a little bit fascist in the world, and so the idea, I don't necessarily know what makes fascism, but I know it revolves around power and control.
You know,
right?
Sociologists and political scientists have been trying to nail down what fascism is for a long time. There's really not a good answer. The best definition of fascism is in Umberto Eco's essay, Fascism, and he essentially lays out 14 points that, like, I don't know what fascism is, but it always has these traits. Like, it's always, like, fierce nationalism and an obsession with power and, you know, military dominance.
Yes.
And isolationism, you know, all these things that come to your mind when you think of a fascist.
I guess you have to go off of historical examples when you're talking about a system, a philosophy that is like an ism or anything.
Well, and it's the same thing with communism, right? Like, in the grand stage of history, communism and fascism are both new ideas. Like, neither one of them have been around that long.
Yeah,
so we're still trying to figure out what they are and what they mean.
Like 1800s they came around?
Yeah, I think Marx was writing late 1800s, and fascism didn't really come around until Mussolini.
Okay, so that was like
1900s.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, you know, as a world, we're still trying to develop what, you know, and we've got definitions, you know, we've got working, like, this is what communism is, this is what fascism is, this is, you know, social democracy, this is socialism, this is how socialism is different than communism, you know, but we're still, as a world, trying to work on that. You know, democracy is as old as Athens, even though people didn't really get to participate to their fullest extent in Athens, women and slaves and whatnot. But
democracy being available to everybody is a new idea.
Yeah.
Relatively.
Yeah,
right?
sure. On the world stage.
Yeah, and you can argue that democracy isn't necessarily for everybody.
Yeah,
you know,
even still. I mean,
felons and stuff.
Well, and that's what the enemies of democracy always want to do, right? The best way to beat democracy is to keep people from voting.
Yes.
And that's where they win. You know, it's the old adage, you don't have to win somebody's vote, you just have to keep them from voting. Did you
learn about all this stuff in your political science
I did
minor major?
Yeah, I was a minor, and I've always had an interest in political science. I took an advanced placement political science course in high school that really piqued my interest. And I've always I have very unique belief structures around pretty much everything I'm in. Like, anything I subscribe to, I believe it very uniquely.
Yeah, and you're a guy who has all of his opinions very well thought out. Like I have confidence that I could ask you about anything, and you will have thought about the idea of that.
Yeah. Well, and if I haven't thought about the idea of it, I'll tell you, I don't know that I really have an opinion on that yet. I need to give it some more thought. I believe in the value of introspection and really vetting your own opinions, right? Because
you have to, if you see holes in it, you can't just trot through.
Yeah.
You can't just keep powering through, be like, oh, well, no, like, I still think I'm right.
Yeah, well, and it's one thing about my wife and I is she and I view the world differently, and I find that stimulating.
Yeah, isn't it great to have different perspectives?
Yeah, she and I, we have fierce debates in our house, and what makes those debates, you know, tolerable and beneficial is both of us are willing to move if we're convinced, but we won't, you know, you're not going to move me unless you convince me on the argument.
Yes.
And I'll admit when I've moved my position, but you're going to have to break through my walls of reason to do that.
My only problem with stuff like that is I'm not the best with articulating my thoughts.
Sure.
Which hopefully I'll get better at through the years as I want to go into broadcasting, speaking for a living. Entertainment, but my thoughts, I get a hard time getting my point out, which isn't good in arguments.
Sure.
Were you on the speech and debate team?
My school did not have a speech and debate team.
Oh, okay.
But I was in a class one time where we had to debate a topic once a week. Every Friday there was a class debate, and I did very well in those sections.
We had like a AP politics class,
Yeah.
and we would argue and debate in that class, and I was always very passionate with my opinion
As well.
and I would just get frustrated why people couldn't see my opinion.
Yeah,
It's because you're not putting it like the way, or they're just not hearing it right. But either way, there's deficiencies on both sides.
Well, and there's something to be said for the fact that at some level you're just going to have fundamental disagreements with people.
Oh yeah, that's a
You know,
big
you're
one.
not gonna there was a kid I went to school with, very, very intelligent. I mean, one of the smartest people I've ever known. He was let's call him a Dr. No. Let's call him Dr. No. So I went to school with Dr. No, and he was could not be more intelligent, and likewise could not be further away from me politically. I mean, he was a staunch capitalist. He was a firm conservative.
Okay.
He believed in a very, very small federal government. And he and I would often have heated debates in class, and no matter how many points I brought up and no matter how many points he brought up to me, the fact of the matter is we had different value systems. We valued different things.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to change his core values, and he's not going to change mine.
Yeah. Yeah. At a certain point, there's nothing that they can say to change your mind.
You're not going to move me away from every human being has certain rights that must be protected at all costs. That should be the forefront of democracy.
Yeah. So you're talking about this with like large scale issues,
but not even large scale issues, like even large scale ideas. Like, I believe that so long as you're not injuring or truly harming another person, you should have the liberty to do whatever you want, regardless of who disagrees with you.
Sure.
I've never understood the value structure of people who say the world is this way, and if people don't subscribe to the world being this way, they must be policed, right? Like,
yeah, well, that goes back to just power hungry, and the controlling nature of some people.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, and a certain closed-mindedness.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that danger of the other that is very deeply, profoundly human. We have very innate fears of things that are different than us.
The unknown.
Yeah, and autocrats and dictators throughout all of history have succeeded mostly by othering a certain community and uniting typically the upper class of people against a different lower class of people.
Yeah, against a common enemy. The history is written through history of wars, right?
Yeah.
And battles between peoples.
Yeah. And things that we call war. Like, we talk about the conflicts between the indigenous peoples of the Americas and the colonizers, and we say that they were wars, but in all actuality, it was the one-sided slaughtering of an entire race and culture by colonists. That's what happened.
Yeah, I guess, and just because they weren't giving up, they were fighting back. They called it a war.
Yeah, they had bows and arrows, and we had cannons and disease, and so
armed with disease.
Yeah, and so we.
Yeah, it's pretty one-sided.
Yeah, I mean, and there should indigenous people have and should have tremendous pride in their culture that was nearly erased by European colonizers. The Dr. No would probably say, well, you don't stand where you are today without that conflict. And I would say, I shouldn't be here like that. And that is the fundamental disagreement he would have. He looks at the world that has given him a pedestal and privilege and says, this is great for me. That means everything that led up to this point is justifiable. And I look at that and say, I have been given an unfair stool to stand on. Someone please take my stool.
Interesting. Yeah, fundamental disagreements.
Yeah.
You can't move people on their baseline.
Yeah.
What they grew up believing, and we always talked about it in class. You can't argue taste.
Right.
And that was the big things. You were having these big philosophical arguments in high school, apparently.
Yes.
Me and my friends were arguing over whether it was a phrase to say to shoot the shit, or whether the new fucking Marvel movie was good.
And it
something.
probably was.
And it probably was.
It probably was good, yeah.
Yeah, we had a lot of movie debates.
Me as well. A lot of good
Marvel.
movies.
Hey, speaking of Marvel, so there's a new show out called Wandavision.
It's amazing.
I have not watched it at all.
It's amazing.
I was put off of by it the first time I saw commercials for it. I was watching football, and my two least favorite characters in the Marvel universe popped up on my screen.
You don't like Scarlet Witch and Vision?
I liked Vision, and I liked Scarlet Witch, but maybe I'm just like a kid who's like, ew, kissing or whatever. But as soon as they started getting just seriously romantically involved in each other, I was just like, I was just sitting there like, hey, get back to punching people.
Evan, I gotta tell you, man.
But that wasn't the rest of it. But
sure.
But I think just with the pace and the action and adventure of the Marvel movies, whenever they would go back to that storyline, about it would be different if it were Tony Stark
and Pepper Potts. Sure.
I'm invested in that. I like those characters, but those were two characters that were introduced later on. There was also the thing that Vision, he was Jarvis, and then he became human. Yeah, and a synthezoid, and now he's in love with a fire. What is she? She has like alien fire. She's got
Infinity Stone powers, vaguely.
Yeah, so they just nothing against the characters. I guess there's nothing. Those characters didn't necessarily excite me, and so when I saw they were making a show together, I was like, God, I thought they were fucking dead. I thought,
but here's the thing.
But the concept of the show looks interesting.
Yeah, it's based a lot on Tom King's run on Vision, which is one of the greatest comic stories ever written.
Okay.
Highly recommend it. Like, I'm very invested in the WandaVision relationship at the word go.
Okay.
To this day, spoilers for Avengers Infinity War if you haven't seen it. To this day, when I watch Infinity War and they're out in the jungle and Vision's like, it's time, Wanda. We're out of time. And she's like, no, I won't do this. And he's like, I'm sorry that it has to be you, but it does have to be you. You could never hurt me. I just feel you. I bawl every time. I think it breaks my... And I will say this.
And when Thanos takes that fucking gem out of his
What
head,
a fucking prick.
Yeah.
God.
Okay, that part got me too. I was like, well, don't kill him like that.
Yeah, do it ginger.
Yeah.
But anyway, like ever since I got... Actually, even before I got married, like I'm a romantic, truly. I am very sentimental about the woman I love. I'm very sentimental about people who love each other.
Yeah. I am as well. I think we're both as crude as we are. I think we're both just sensitive guys.
Yeah.
I'll cry at anything. If I watch any football documentary about any player or coach that played in the NFL or coached or played any sport for like 20, 25 years at least, I will bawl like a baby when they're like, dad is dying or whatever.
Hey, I don't know if you know this or not. So when we were in college, my wife was in a 10-minute play festival, 20-minute play festival. And she was in a play written by a very quirky playwright that we know. You know who I'm talking about.
Yes.
And Tara was in this play. And in the play, she was she played like an outcast character, and she was made fun of and put upon. And I couldn't suspend my disbelief. And like I cried so much during that show, not because I empathized with this character that my wife was playing, but I just couldn't stand watching these people be mean to my girlfriend at the time. Like it made me so sad. Like, don't be mean to her. I love her so much. Leave her alone.
That's so sweet.
I love my wife so much.
And it's adorable.
I wanted for some time to write I love comics as an art form. I prefer comics to almost anything else, to novels, to movies. I really love a good comic story.
Okay. Interesting.
And for a long time, I've wanted to write a comic book about two superheroes who are married, who make each other better people and better superheroes through their romantic relationship.
Interesting.
I think it would be and like to see them disagree on how they handle these.
That's interesting because you can go into their different justice philosophies, their different moral ethics and stuff like that.
Well, and what happens when two people love each other so much? And like, what are they willing to sacrifice within themselves and their own belief structures?
And they're coming with different backgrounds and different superpowers, probably.
Yeah.
Do they have a kid?
Yeah. And when the kid shows up, like, what does that do?
Yeah. Does it reflect more on one than the other?
Well, and it's something that is, I think the best stories, period, are stories that comment upon the truth of the experience. Like, whether or not you're exaggerating, like, it is so profoundly human to be two parents who have different thoughts about how to raise your kid.
That's
right.
Yeah. I mean, that's the whole Shakespeare thing. It's all different situations, and it may be boring if you're like a little kid sitting in an audience, be like, oh, two gentlemen of Verona, they're running back and forth, they can't tell each other apart or whatever.
Yeah.
But ultimately, if you can understand it at the base level, which is it's a story about the human experience and about human nature, then you just it's
like
masterful. And those are the best stories, the ones that you can connect with and have. It's a completely different situation, but you're watching it and be like, yeah, I get that. I relate to that character. And
well, and it's the thing, it's about Avengers. Ultimately, the Infinity Saga of the MCU, the thesis is splintered, we can do nothing, but together we can overcome anything. Like, that's ultimately what the first section of the Marvel Universe is saying. I think the most important movies in the MCU are Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame. Like, those three films are, a house divided against itself can't stand. There is no power in disunity. It's one of the reasons that why the three stories of Infinity War are so well paced and so masterfully told is you've got Thor doing his thing, Iron Man doing his thing, Captain America doing his thing, and it doesn't matter what they do because they've already failed. Because they are not together fighting Thanos, they've already lost.
It's the great Abraham Lincoln.
United
we stand, divided we fall.
Yeah.
Hey, where was Abraham Lincoln born? Because if you
Illinois.
drive,
he was born in Kentucky, but he grew up in Illinois.
If you drive around Kentucky, Indiana, this whole region, every town, every exit on the highway says that it claims to have the birthplace of Lincoln, or Lincoln's childhood home, or a replication of Lincoln's boyhood home. This region hangs
Abraham Lincoln's underwear on display.
Yes. We have his hat, or a picture of his hat, really.
We got a picture of the stovepipe.
We have a cardboard cutout. You can pose with Abraham Lincoln.
Oh, wow. Well, Evan, bud, you got to watch WandaVision
I do.
Before we see each other again.
I guess I got to check it out. Dude, I am so bad at sitting down and watching shows that everybody's raving about.
Why?
I just suck at it. I know that I'm there's a possibility.
I will Clockwork Orange you into watching WandaVision.
See, I've watched Clockwork Orange. I there's nothing about classics.
No, what I'm saying is I will take belts.
You hook my eyes open.
Hook your eyes open to watch WandaVision.
I'll check it out. I still need to finish season 2 of The Mandalorian.
Oh my God!
I finally
Do you watch anything? What do you do?
just sit around and jack off.
I guess.
Really?
Me too, and I've still seen season 2 of The Mandalorian and WandaVision.
It gives you great spanking material.
Dude, Paul Bettany and Elizabeth Olsen, I mean, they haven't been given much to play with in the MCU thus far, and they have been given scripts, and they are knocking them out of the ballpark.
I respect, was the guy Paul something?
Paul Bettany. Yeah.
I respect that guy a lot because he was in it for the long game. When he signed up to do the voice of Jarvis, it was like a background, and then when he finally got probably the first time they contacted him for like measurements for his costume, he probably was like, "Yes, I fucking made it."
I'm sure,
I'm
like
be on the big screen.
he went up to Joss Whedon like after Avengers 1, who's like, "Hey, Joss,
so when does Vision?
Vision come in?" Joss is like, "Who?" He's like, "Vision." He's like, "I don't know." And he's like, throws him the comic book, and he's like, "Just peruse this." He's an Avenger. Could Jarvis be Vision? Joss Whedon's like, "Not right now. I'm reading." We got to fake people out and tell them that I'm making another season of Buffy when I'm not. Joss Whedon, if you're out there.
Great writer.
I know that a lot of people gave you shit after you took over Justice League from Zack Snyder, but I'm on your side in this whole thing.
Justice League sucked. Zack Snyder has messed up everything he put his paws on in the
I'll go one step
DC
further.
universe.
I'll go one step further. Zack Snyder creates fascist propaganda.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. 300, fascist propaganda. His adaptation of perhaps one of the greatest leftist comic stories of all time, Watchmen, fascist propaganda.
Interesting.
He's a fascist. I don't know that.
Batman.
Batman is a fascist.
A militaristic.
Yeah, a militaristic billionaire who
billionaire.
enforces his will through violence.
Yeah,
Batman's not a fascist. Listen,
up homeless thugs.
You read Justice League Tower of Babel and you tell me that Batman's not a fascist.
Tower of Babel or Babel?
I think either way. Babel.
Babel.
It's the great Justice League story where the Justice League figure out that Batman's been spying on them and created plans to kill them in case one of them ever goes rogue.
Oh,
yeah.
Interesting.
It's essentially like the Justice League Civil War, and Batman's like, "But I had to. You all are so dangerous."
I had to plan how to kill you all.
Because I wasn't going to do it.
Yeah,
unless you stepped out of line.
Listen, if you guys turned on me and I didn't have a backup plan, you guys could kill me easily. I have no powers.
That's essentially Batman's argument. Is Batman's like, you all are gods, and I am just a person. You all could enslave the entire human race if I don't have a plan to kill you.
He's like Bill Gates. Is like, it's up to me and my $1 million and millions of dollars to keep an eye on humanity.
And one of the coolest parts of the story is he's talking with Superman, and they're like looking at all the plans because Batman comes clean, and they get to Wonder Woman's plan, and it's just an empty file. And Superman's like, well, what's your backup plan for Wonder Woman? And he looks at Superman. He's like, you are the backup plan for Wonder Woman, because if both of you turn, we're fucked. We're super fucked if both of you turn. Superman, you are the backup plan for Wonder Woman.
Don't you go bad on me. That was the one. I guess Justice League, the movie Justice League. That was the thing. Superman was a bad guy for a little bit.
Which has happened before.
Yeah. I'm not a comic guy. I'm
a big comic guy.
I mean, I'm a comic book guy. Like, I'm a big fan of comic book movies, and I've picked up a couple comic books. I was big on the Simpsons comics when I was a little kid. They were my personal favorite. I liked much more funny comics than like superhero stuff. I always like cartoons for that stuff.
Amazing.
But I'm a big comic fan. I like movies even more.
Yeah.
And I'm a big podcast guy too.
Yeah.
Listen to podcasts
This
all
has
the
been
time.
a podcast.
This has been a podcast.
A lot of depth in this one, huh?
Depth, yeah.
We stepped down in the deep end.
I think in this one we figured out that you are very intelligent and very well thought out in these big philosophical ideas of communism, capitalism, Marxism, all these isms.
Sure.
And you can really delve down and pick apart the nuances of it. And I'm just kind of a guy who sits here and going, yeah. Dude, me and my friends, we used to fight. I saw the Justice League. I thought he was shit. But buddy,
It wasn't good,
Yeah,
huh?
but Breland said it was good, so I fucking fought him.
Boy, howdy, the Justice League wasn't good, huh?
I was angry when Suicide Squad came out.
Ooh, it wasn't good either, huh?
No. it wasn't.
Hey, but the new James Gunn Suicide Squad movie, that looks dope so far.
I like James Gunn.
Yeah, he's
What
amazing.
has he made?
Guardians 1 and 2.
Oh, he did the movie Super, right?
Yeah, he did do Super, which I have not seen, but I've heard nothing but great things.
Oh, you should seriously check it out.
I would love to watch Super.
It was really good.
Yeah.
It's pretty much if like I decided to become a superhero.
Wow.
Like if
That's powerful.
it's kind of like Kick-Ass, but they don't. It's kind of like Kick-Ass, but not as glorified.
Holy shit! Did you watch Kick-Ass 2?
I'm not sure if I did.
Fuck, watch Kick-Ass 2. That movie's fucking brutal to watch.
Yeah, those are brutal movies.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
even more so than the first Kick-Ass.
Great movies too, though.
Yeah.
Yep.
Amazing.
Okay.
Well, I love you.
So, this has been a fun podcast.
Yeah.
We got in deep.
We did philosophy. We talked about a mystery woman in ball shorts.
Yeah. Rest in peace. Our
Larry
boy
King.
Larry King, and I'm gonna give a shout out to rest in peace Hank Aaron.
Whom I don't know at all
You
because
don't-
I'm not a sports boy.
He was a legendary baseball player throughout the 60s and 70s.
He's batting with
Um,
the Angels now.
Great leader in civil rights and activists and stuff, and
Amazing.
an all-time
Powerful.
record holder.
Yeah.
A goat in the baseball world. I'm not a huge baseball guy, but I do appreciate everything that Hank Henry Aaron, or I've heard it called Hank Aaron and Henry Aaron. So whatever it is, rest in peace. You too, Larry King. This has been another.
I guess you could say there are angels in the outfield.
Oh, wait, we've been how we've been ending these episodes is by turning it back and forth to one another to
Yeah.
say things.
Whose turn is it?
Well, we didn't do it last podcast.
Oh no!
We came up short.
Oh no! Well, we've got to do two
And-
then.
Okay, so we'll both say something.
Yeah. So let's do it like a call and response, huh? Like a call and response thing.
Okay. Do you want to start, or do you want to call or
I'll
respond?
I'll do the call. Hold on.
Okay. And I'm responding.
Yeah, you're gonna respond to my call, just whatever feels right, and don't think about it too much. Let it hit you in your spirit. Well, when I was down in Pork Fat Creek,
I took a toothpick out, stuck it in my teeth.
hey, that was pretty good. I've been Treyton Blackburn.
I've been Evan Pride. Thanks for listening.
Oh, amazing.